and I always joke that my husband's very white. In most cases, it, people would never put us together if we're standing side by side. He is passionate about that environment, and we all are history lovers. And there's so much detective work that's gone into the discoveries that have been made so far that get us all excited. And he's excited that not only is this part of his legacy, we sit smack dab in the middle of old line white families who've been in that area for hundreds of years, and an old line black family that my husband grew up with, and they've been in that area for hundreds of years. And so he pointed that out to me one day. I was like, I didn't even notice.
We had that conversation about history, being from New York and being from Philly.
Mm-hmm.
We have a different concept of history.
I think so.
It's definite.
History isn't heritage for us.
No.
It's like heritage for a lot of Southerners. And coming from New York, Black History Month, same 8 black people, the only people
exactly. Those are the same ones in Philly.
And then also, we were all enslaved until the Civil War.
Yeah.
So our friend who grew up in that area on the other side of the pond used to say, my family was never enslaved. I was like, come on, Charles. We were all enslaved. He's like, no, my family wasn't enslaved. In the research that I've been doing, there are old line black families that can trace their ancestors back to the first ones that came in the 1600s from the West Indies as indentured servants. Now, not saying their lot in life was that much better.
But there's a difference between indentured servants and slaves.
Yes,
there definitely is.
So the fact of the matter is, there was another context to history than what a lot of us grew up with. And so for me to be in the position where we can start sharing that context and we're making discoveries, it's absolutely a privilege.
Okay, so now that's from the personal side. As a filmmaker, you're looking at this going, man, this is, okay, now there's a story. If you're a storyteller, this is hitting it out the park.
Okay, case in point. We had spent dozens of hours trying to research the first black owner of our property. He was a man of mystery. And we were rushing to go somewhere, and of course I decided to check email. My husband's like, why are you checking email right now? We've got to go. I got an email from his great-granddaughter. She was like, is this the same Jolly's Mill Pond? And then she started describing it, and I was like, oh my goodness.
This is it.
And so then within a few days, we sat down and we had a Zoom, and she was able to fill in pieces of his story that we have been researching for like years.
So you could have went to the census, didn't work. You could have went to all these deeds and all that. You go to the source.
Yes, and so we were able to plug in certain holes too.
But she had.
But she was there with her mother, his granddaughter, and when he died in Richmond. He broke his back, and he was hospitalized at a black children's hospital. It was a hospital for disabled black children, basically in the location of VCU, current day VCU. And after a month, he died from his injuries. So we found his death certificate. Thank you, Ancestry.com. We found his death certificate. We found different pieces of census data, but we still couldn't figure out a bunch of things. So then they were able to share with us. He went to Hampton. He taught. And there's some record in that period of time where he said he wanted to buy some land in Virginia. And so as a storyteller, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So it's amazing, and it's also daunting.